Hi all, welcome to the benchmarking video of my HP Elite 8300. Straight into the results. On Heaven we've got a score of 399 and on Valley we've got a score of 573, and on 3D Mark, which is the Fire Strike benchmark, we've got a final score of 896. So what I'm going to do now is start up some games just to give you an idea of how this machine performs. Now the good thing about AMD software, driver software, is it's got its own built-in metrics and performance indicator, and that will display in the top right hand side, but of course I will also dictate how each game is performing. Now in most of the games there's a lot of comprehensive settings which you can adjust to either get a high frame rate or quality or decent balance of both, and I'll also talk through that as well. So first up, in the list of games, this is probably one of the most taxing, Apex Legends. Now looking at the metrics, there's no way this game will run on 1 gig of VRAM in your graphics card, because the usage is 1.5 gig, and also 8 gig is definitely the minimum, not 4 gig, because we're on at 5.5 gig of RAM usage. Now what I've done, I've capped this game at 30 frames per second to reduce the amount of, correct me if I'm wrong, stutter and frame rates going up and down, and it's pretty rock solid. Most of the settings are either, quality settings are either set to disabled or at the lowest, but not on the lowest resolution. So hopefully once a few characters get moving on the screen, that frame rate's not going to dip too much for you. So I think we can safely say that this game's more than playable at 30 frames per second with the current settings. Okay, so that's Apex Legends. And this is another surprise freebie game on Steam called Black Squad. Now with the game's own inbuilt metrics displaying, we're getting 30 and above, which is just fine. Now I haven't got this, I've got this on the lowest quality preset, so there may even be a little bit of headroom to up one or two of those and maybe keep it above 30 frames per second. This is just a bot game, but it gives you an idea of the gameplay. Okay, so that's Black Squad. This is Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Now it's a mixture of medium and low settings. You may even be able to get away with high settings, because we're getting almost 50 frames per second, which is really good. I've got it on the highest resolution, so I think you can safely say that this is definitely a pass game. I mean, sometimes indoors it's getting over 50 frames per second. So yeah, CSGO is definitely a pass on this machine. Now I thought I'd do something different for the usual Crysis benchmark. This is actually Crysis 2, which uses an upgraded Crytek engine, because you'd probably be sure that this machine can play Crysis 1 on 30 frames and above, depending on the quality settings you've selected. Now put all the settings to the minimum, and at the moment in this intro outdoor area we're almost nudging 30 frames per second, but I'm pretty sure once firefights start happening, that rate may go down a touch. So really it's a matter of playing it and just see if you can get decent performance from it. Okay, so that's Crysis 2. Now this is Fear 3. Now in this indoor level we're getting a pretty solid 30 frames per second. There's quite a big firefight going on here. And some of the quality and some of the settings aren't even set to minimum. So you're going to have a decent bit of gameplay with this one and these settings. Okay, so that's Fear 3. Now this is Fortnite. Now as a footnote, it's always worth stopping other games services, like the one for Valorant, I think Vanguard, that stays active even if you're not playing the game. So exit that, and it's the same with Steam as well. Of course, Fortnite being on Epic Games. Exit those and try and give your machine, especially one like this, as much resource as possible. We're getting at easy 30 frames per second. I mean, there's no firefighting going on at the moment. We're just running around. And with lots of the graphical settings set to low or switched off. I mean, it looks all right to me. But like I keep saying, the sweet spot really, there's a few bits of graphical pop-ups there. The sweet spot is 30 frames per second. Can't find any other characters, but I think you can safely assume that Fortnite's a pass. Okay, that's Fortnite. This is the opening scenes or driving scenes to Grand Theft Auto 5. And we're getting a pretty steady mid-30s frames per second, which is decent enough, and I don't think I've got all the settings set onto the minimum either, and looks quite decent to me. There's a fair bit going on with this opening driving scene, so it gives you a good idea as to what performance to expect. Okay, so that's Grand Theft Auto 5. This is Heroes and Generals. Now for some reason I can't get the AMD metrics to display the frames per second, but you can be pretty sure that this machine won't have a problem playing this. I've got a few of the effects switched off. So yeah, just try and find, as with all these games, the right balance of frame performance and quality settings. Okay, so that's Heroes and Generals.